Okay guys, this is part 2 of Overall Sam. We have a few things to work on and finish up with his arms and his boots, and we will be done. So let's just get into it. Okay, so to get started, I want to just get yourself a little scrap piece of yarn or an extra stitch marker. I want to mark the back of our hat. So where is my seam? Right here. See that seam right there? That's the back of my hat. So I'm just going to take a stitch marker and go in wherever and just mark that, okay? So we always know that's the back of our hat. I gotta get my chair adjusted. There we go. Okay, so now what we are going to do, get your shirt color, and for mine I'm going to go with this red. We are going to get a slip knot on our hook, and as always, make sure you got plenty of tail to weave in. Okay, so I'm just going to flip this brim out of the way. Just flip it up like that. Okay, and we are going to find the half double crochet that we slip stitched into to end our little head right here. We are going to attach right back in there. Right in there with a slip stitch and a chain one. And then I'm going to pull that tail tight, get that out of the way. Alright, we are going to double crochet right back in there. Just like that. And then work one double crochet into each of the half doubles all the way around, okay? So nothing fancy yet, just some double crochets. Alright, so I'm going to pause here, and there's going to be a lot of this in this part 2 of Overall Sam, because we've got a lot of stuff to get through in this video. So there's going to be a lot of times where I'm going to pause and do a lot of my work off camera. Alright, so I'm going to get this round done and I'll be right back. Okay, so I double crocheted into each of the half double crochets around, and before we end, I'm going to go ahead and just weave this end in. So I'm going to get my needle here. I'm going to go ahead and just continue it around. Instead of bringing it back this way, just take it this way through these legs. This is so hard to do on camera. Alright, let me get this in front of my face. Here we go. Alright, bring it back. Don't pull it too tight or it's going to distort your stitches right there. See how I got that gap now? Pull that back out a bit. Scissors. Alright. So to finish, let's get back in our loop. And we are going to slip stitch to the very first double crochet that we worked. Right in there. Alright, now to move on to round 2, we're going to chain 1, and then right back into that double that we just slip stitched into, we're going to work a double, chain 1, and go right back in there with a double. Like that. Alright, now we're going to work 2 double crochet into the next double, And now double into the next 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 2 double crochet into the next. Into the next, we're going to work a double, chain 1, double. 2 double crochet into the next. Double into the next 6. Four, 5, 6. We should have one more double crochet left, and we're going to work 2 doubles into that. Slip stitch to the very first double crochet right there to end round 2. Chain 1 and go ahead and just pull up a loop. I want to show you guys if we did this right, the chain 2s, or I'm sorry, chain 2s, the chain 1s should be on the edges following up our work and also into the top of the hat. So it should follow right up, you know, right up here. Looks good. Okay. Let me get my pencil and mark off where I am. Okay, so round 3. Go ahead and go right back in. Oh, let me flip my brim out of the way. Go right back into that double that we slip stitched into. Into the chain 1 space with a double, chain 1, double. Okay, so now what we're going to do is work a double into each double. When you get to your chain 1 space, work a double, chain 1, double, double into each double, and I will meet you when we get to that last double crochet. I think you guys can handle this. Up to this point, I think you could, you know, you got a pretty good understanding. We're just working a double into each double, into the chain 2 with double chain, or chain 1, double, chain 1, double, double into the next double. And when I come back, I'm going to give you guys a stitch count just to make sure we're still on track, okay? So once again, I will be right back. Alrighty, so I have repeated that around, and you should have 28 double crochets. Alright, so I'm going to slip stitch to that first double right there. Right in there. Chain 1. And for round 4 and 5, we are going to work 1 double crochet into the same double we slip stitched into, and double into each double until the chain 1 space. So right here's my chain 1 space. And what we're going to do is chain 1, skip the chain 1, double into the next double. Double into each double until the next chain 1 space. So you're going to double right along here. Double into that last double, chain 1, skip the chain 1 space, double into next double until your first double, slip stitch to the first. We're going to repeat that for, this is round 4, and then we're going to do the exact same thing for round 5, okay? Slip stitch to your first, chain 1, double into each double until the chain 1 space, chain 1, skip the chain 1, double into each double until the next chain 1 space, chain 1, skip the chain 1, double until your very first double. Alright? So once again, like I said, this is going to be a lot of on your own, because this video is going to be quite long. So you guys got this. We did the exact same thing with the hat, okay? So I'm going to let you guys finish round 4, work round 5, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I repeated that around, I'm going to slip stitch to my first double right here, chain 1, pull up a loop, and cut. Now what we're going to do is, if you lay your piece, you know, pinch those chain 1 spots so that's a nice seam on the side. You turn him over, you can see his little shoulders right there. So what we're going to do now, if I can get my, I can get him out, here we go. We are going to work this little piece and his shoulder straps. That's all a separate piece. And then, well, what we do is we work the piece, we come back, we lay it on his body like this, and then we work the rest of his pants and, you know, each leg. So this whole piece is going to be separate, then we attach all, and then it's one piece. So what we're going to do now is get our overall color, which for mine is this blue. And we're going to get a slip knot on our hook, and as always, make sure you got plenty of tail. Uh-oh, bumped my camera. Didn't mean to do that. Alright, we're going to chain 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Now we're going to double crochet into the 4th chain from our hook. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Come right in there with a double crochet. And now just double crochet into each of your remaining chains. I'm going to go ahead and just pause this real quick. Okay, so now what we are going to do is, I want to explain something to you. So a lot of times when we end the row on a project after we slip stitch to the beginning, like for instance, you know, when we were just working this shirt, right? We would slip stitch to the first, chain 1, double into the first. Well, a lot of patterns or a lot of other projects or a lot of other tutorials will say chain 3. Well, I never really do that just because I like the look of the chain 1 better. However, I do want to show you the difference on the 2 overall Sams that I made. So this is, we've got the chain 3 at the end of the rows, which, I mean, you can see it's not a straight seam. And you can see here, it's still not straight, but it's not as wavy as the other one, which they are both chain 3s. I tried the chain 1s at the end of the row, and the chain 1s look better, or I'm sorry, the chain 3s look better. And you can see on hers, looks like she's got a little end sticking out right there. She did the chain 3s also. So if you want to work a chain 1 at the end of your row and then turn, that's totally up to you. I think, you know, you should work the chain 3 just because it makes it prettier. But that's me. You guys can do what you want. Alright, so to move on to row 2, we're going to chain 3 and turn our work. So that's going to count as our double, so don't double into that very first one unless you did the chain 1 and turn, okay? We are going to double into the next double crochet. Double into the next 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so we worked that chain 3 and turned. we are not going to work into the very first double because the chain 3 counts as our double. So we're going to double into the very next double and then double into the next 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the last one right here is 8. Alright, we are not going to work into the chain 3. We're going to leave that unworked. Now we're going to chain 3 and turn. Alright, now skip that last double we just made because that chain 3 counts, and we're going to double into the next and into the next 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and right here is 7. And again, we're going to leave that chain 3 unworked. We're going to chain 1 and turn. So just the chain 1, because now what we're going to do is, where did I, oh, here they are. We're going to work the straps, okay? So we're going to single crochet into the very first double. I've got a all right, sorry about that. I have a scribble on my pattern right here. I'll show you. Right here, and I was like, uh-oh, I don't know why that's there. What does that mean? So I had to look to double check, and all I had marked out a number. Anyway, so we single into the first and we single into the next. Okay, so that is row 1 of our strap. So for row 2 to 15, all we're going to do is chain 1, turn, single into the first, single into the next. That's row 2. Chain 1, turn, single, single. That was row 3. That's 4. Chain 1, turn. That was row 5. That was row 6. All right, so I'm going to stop there and go ahead and work yours until row 15. So I will be right back. Okay, so once you get done, well, once you finish your row 15, the last single on your row 15, chain 1 and pull up a loop. So I want to show you guys in case you, you know, you lose count of what row you're on. Hold your overall piece with the last row of double crochet facing away from you, so the back of those doubles are facing you, and you're just going to give it a little tug. Give that a little tug and look at these holes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and then of course there's not going to be 15 because we would have to work another row to have 15. So the row 15 holes would be under the top of your singles. Okay, so I'm just trying to give you guys a little bit of a way to keep track in case you lose count. But anyway, once you finish row 15, cut, pull up a loop. We're going to go just fasten off, and now what we're going to do is attach and work the second. All right, now once again with the row of double crochet facing away from us, see, you can tell that's the front of the doubles, that's the back of the doubles. So just like this, we're going to come down and we're going to attach into what's technically the last double crochet right there. We're going to attach into the top with a slip stitch, chain 1, go back in there with a single, and then we're going to single to the top of this chain 3. So I can see right there's the back loop of one chain, here's the back loop of the second chain, so the third chain is going to be up here, and it'll be a little tight, and that's fine, just get it in there and work a single. Alright, so that's row 1 of our 15. So go ahead and work your 15 rows of the 2 singles, and I'll be right back. Alright, so I've got my second strap done. If I lay it down once again with this last row of double facing away from me, so the backs of the doubles are facing me, the 2 straps should be same length. If it's not a 100% huge deal. Just kind of makes it easier. Anyway, so after you work that last single, chain 1, pull up a loop, and cut. Now what we're going to do is we are going to weave in these ends, but I don't want you to weave in this very first tail from our chain 13. Don't weave that in because we're going to use that as a little bit of a guide. So go ahead and weave this tail and these 2 tails, and also don't lose sight of your 2 doubles at the end of your straps, okay? So when you weave in your ends, make sure you don't like pinch it to where you can't see. Just, or you know, even if you need to, just mark them with a stitch marker so you don't lose sight of them, okay? So I'm going to pause again and weave in the ends, and remember, don't weave in that very first tail where that little slip knot is. Don't weave that in, okay? Alright, I'll be right back. Okay, so now we have our little beginning of our overall done, and I'm going to show you guys what we're going to do now, okay? We are going to bring Sam back, turn him upside down, and we want the front facing us, or where we just fastened off, and then what we're going to do is we'll bring our bib, the bib part, the bibs part, we will set here, and then we're going to work around, and then we'll bring his straps to the back, crisscross them, so it'll look like this, and then we'll work the body and the legs, okay? Alright, so what we are going to do now, okay, I am sorry about the odd cut. I had to refilm this part. This is the 3rd time because the first time I told you to attach into the wrong stitch, so I stopped and deleted that part, and the second time I used the wrong color. We want his overall color, not his shirt color. So that's why there's an odd, you guys will never see those, but that's why there's an odd little break in the tutorial. So once again, get your overall color, bring Sam back. We want the front of him upside down facing us. So here's, you can see, is my stitch marker. That's the back of our hat, right? Here's the front. So this is the front of Sam. We want the front of him facing us, which I know we got that little seam there. That's all right. On the right hand side of his shirt, into the second double crochet to the right of that chain 1 right there, we're going to attach with a slip stitch, chain 1. So we attach into the second double to the right of the chain 1 when Sam is upside down and the front facing us. Okay? Go right back in there with a double. Double into the next. Chain 1, skip that chain 1, double into the next double. Now what we're going to do is lay this down. Don't worry about these tails, we'll get those weaved in just a minute. Bring your little overall piece that we've got worked so far and make sure the first row of doubles are facing you. So our tail that we didn't weave in is to the right. And what we're going to do is we're going to double crochet through this very first chain and the very next double. Alright, so what we want is you guys to be able to identify the remaining loops of this beginning chain. So just like I showed you earlier, all you have to do is find the post of your stitch, that first double right here. And you can kind of see right here are where the legs come to the chain. So these loops down here, that's the remaining loops. But we want to catch both. Well, the back loop of the beginning chain that we missed is kind of hidden a little bit. So if we just put our hook right on the legs of that chain, or the legs of that double crochet, and push it through, which this first one's a little tight because I had already pulled it tight from when I worked it. You just push it through and it catches the back loop, which is right here, and the side loop that we didn't work into of the beginning chain. So that's the 2 remaining loops of our beginning chain. So each double crochet that we're going to work, we want to make sure, find the post of your double. You can see the legs come together right there. Just put your hook there, push through, and you catch the back loop right here. Right here's that back loop, and then here's the side loop that we didn't work into. So that's the 2 loops, the 2 remaining loops of our chain, okay? All right, so get back on my work here. I just wanted to make sure you guys can spot those. I'm going to lay this on top, yarn over, go into the first remaining 2 loops of my overall and into the next double and work a double just like that. And I'll wipe my hook down. It's raining outside, so there's a lot of moisture in here. Alright, so now we are going to double through the next 5. So that's 5 on this side, 5 on this side, okay? So find the post of your next, pop it through there, through that next double. 1, right there, right there, 2, 3, 4, here, and here, 5. Okay, so now this is important because we've got to skip a stitch on the shirt part only. So we're going to yarn over, go through the very next post, or the remaining loops of the beginning chain of the overall, and then come to the shirt, skip the next, and go into the next and work a double. All right, I know that's a pain, and I'm not 100% sure why she did it on, here it is, why she did it on this one, but once I got in there and saw that, it's in there somewhere. I don't want to pull it apart again. I thought, well, I'm not asking questions, we're just going to do it. Alright, so now where is my tail? we are going to go ahead and continue as normal. So we have this one. Now we're going to go through this one and the next double here and the next double here, get out of there, the next double, and then the very beginning chain right here of the 3 chains that we skipped, and then that should line up with this double crochet that we slip stitched into. Oop, oop, oop. What am I doing? Yeah, that's right. Go through there, pull it through, and work your double. Alright, so you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 double crochet in your overall color. Okay? I need to get my pencil. Where is my pencil? I want to show you guys this part of all of my scribbles from when I wrote this pattern out. It is a huge page, so I need my pencil to mark off where we are so I can keep track and not mess up again. Alright, so we have done this, fully connected here. Okay, so we are going to get that tail out of the way. Double crochet into the very next double. Chain 1, skip the chain 1, double into the next, so we skip the chain 1, double into the next, and double into the next. Alright, now we're going to stop, set Sam down to where his back's facing you. Let me get my notepad out of the way. Churchy's sleeping on all of my stuff, and it's, move your head, there you go. Okay, sorry about that. Alright, so now pick up your straps, bring them over his shoulders, just like this, cross them, and we're working from this side. So this strap, I'm going to give just a bit of a tug just to get it to lay the way I want it to. And it doesn't matter if this strap goes over or under this strap, it doesn't matter. So I'm going to bring this strap over, and I'm going to double crochet through the first single of the strap and the very next double of our shirt. Double through the very next single of the strap and the next double on the shirt. Alright, so now that strap is fully attached. Let me mark off. Okay, we're going to double into the next 3 double on the shirt only. 1, get in there. There we go. 1, 2, 3. Alright, now we are going to give this side of the strap a tug and bring it over, and we are going to skip the next 2 double crochet, or I'm sorry, skip 1 double crochet, double into the next 2 on the shirt only. skip one, double into the next two. Why she did that, I haven't the slightest clue, but like I said, we're not going to question it, we're just going to do it. So skip, double into the next, double into the next. So you should have 2 double crochet left, and that is where we are going to double through the single on our strap and the double on our shirt, and one more time through oh, come on. There. Through the single and through the double. Just like that. Holy cow. We have officially, well, let me rephrase that. Slip stitch to the first double crochet, chain 1, pull up a loop. Now we have officially attached our overalls to Sam. And we should have, let's go ahead and count, the one we just attached into, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26 double crochet. Okay? So now I am going to go ahead and stop here, and we are going to weave in these ends. Okay? So go ahead and get your working yarn and your loop out of the way, and we're going to weave in these ends to get them done and out of the way. So I'm going to do that off camera so my video is not 4 hours long. So I will get that done, and when I come back we are going to continue on down Sam. So we will be right back. Okay, I've got my ends weaved in, and I am super happy how cute he's looking. See, I wish I felt the same about the colors on this overall, or the Sunbonnet Sue. I'm not liking it on her dress, but I'm loving this. This is adorable. Okay, so let's get started. We are going to get our work back on our hook, and we're going to double crochet right back into that double that we slip stitched into. And I have a churchy hair. So double crochet right back in there, double into the next, and now we're going to work the double, chain 1, double into the chain 1 space. Chain 1, double. Now we're going to double into each of the doubles, don't forget this one right here, until the next chain 1 space, the next on the other side. So just double crochet all along. Double, double. All right, into the chain 1 space, double, chain 1, go right back in there, double, and now we're going to double into each double back to the beginning. So I'm going to go ahead and just do that off camera. You guys don't need to watch me do that. Go ahead and work yours back to the beginning, and I'll be right back. All right, I've repeated that around. I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch to this first double crochet. right there, chain 1. All right, so I'm going to explain this next 2 rows to you, and then I'm going to let you do it on your own, which it's the same thing we just did. We are going to double into the same double we slip stitched into, double into each double until the chain 1 space, into your chain 1 space, work double, chain 1, double, double into each double till your next chain 1 space, into the chain 1 space, work a double, chain 1, double, double till you're back to where you started, slip stitch. That's round 3. Round 4, do the exact same thing again, okay? So I'm going to let you guys work that off camera, and when we come back, we are going to start his legs. All right, so work 3 and 4, double into each double and into each chain 1, double, chain 1, double. All right, you guys got this. I will be right back once I get mine done. Okay, so I just finished my round 5, 4, 5, and, well, I'm sorry, I lied to you. I got one more double I got to work into. There we go. Now you should have 38 double crochet. So it's very important we have 38 double crochet. If you're missing one or you're over one, work an increase or a decrease, whatever you need. And we're going to slip stitch into the first double crochet right here to end the round. I feel like I thought I split that. I guess I didn't. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we are going to split Sam's little body here and create 2 legs. So what we're going to do is chain 1, double right back into the double you just slip stitched into, and double into the next 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Chain 1, go ahead and skip that chain 1, and we're going to double into the next 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. I'm going to double check to make sure that's right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right, we got that. All right, so now we are going to come right around. So just flip Sam over. And what I want you to do is from the very first double crochet of this round on his leg, we're going to count over 1, 2, 3, 4 to that 5th one right there. So into that 5th one, we're going to work a double crochet. And now double crochet into the next 4 to the beginning. And that should be 19 double crochet for one leg. Right there. So we should have 19 double crochet and then 19 double crochet for the second leg that we haven't worked yet. So I am going to pause and double count just to make sure I'm right, okay? So we should have 19 doubles, 19 doubles. I'll be right back. Perfect. I've got 19 doubles for this leg and this leg. It's exactly what we need. All right, now we are going to slip stitch to our first double. And I gotta move Churchy's paw. All right, so for round 2, 3, and 4, we're gonna do kind of the same thing we've been doing. We're gonna double into each double, chain 1, skip the chain 1 double into each double, okay? So, I mean, we've done it before, so I need you to work round 2, 3, and 4, all right? So this is round 1 of our leg. Round 2, 3, and 4, just double into each double, chain 1 and skip your chain 1, double into each double, slip stitch to your first double, okay? 2, 3, and 4. So go ahead and work those rounds, and I will be right back. Okay, so I just finished my round 2, and I realized that I should have mentioned that there's no chain 1 in the inner thigh, like the crotch area. So I thought I better say that because I bet they might get confused. The only chain 1 is on the hip area right here and then down the leg, okay? Sorry about that. I should have explained that a little bit better before I ended, but okay, go ahead. Okay, so I am back. I just finished round 4, and we are going to slip stitch to the first double, and the last round of his leg, round 5, chain 1, and we're going to work the same thing, just half double crochets. So half double into each double, chain 1, skip your chain 1, half double into each double, back to your beginning, okay? So go right back into the one you slip stitched into, and now half double until your chain 1, skip chain 1, half double, back to your beginning. All right, so I'm going to get that done, and I will be right back. Okay, I worked that all the way around, slip stitch to my first half double, chain 1, pull up a loop, and cut. I couldn't pick it up. I'm going to pull that tail to the inside, and I'm going to go ahead and weave this in, and while I'm weaving it in, I am going to tell you guys or explain to you what we're going to do for the second leg. It's the exact same thing we just did with the first. So what I'm going to do is show you where to attach, and then let you go on your own and repeat the same thing you just did for this first leg. You know, work your attach. I'll show you where to attach, and then double crochet into each double, jump across, double into each double, chain 1, skip your chain 1, and go from there. Okay, so there is our first leg. So for our second leg, go ahead and flip Sam over so his back is facing us. You can see the seam from our leg. Go ahead and get a slip knot on your hook, and I want to attach into any of the stitches closer to the closer to the chain 1 on his hip. So I'm just going to let's see, here's my chain 1, 1, 2. I'm going to attach into the third to the left of the chain 1. Chain 1, pull that tail tight to the inside, double crochet into the same one you attached into, and I'm going to let you go, okay? Double crochet into each double, turn them over, double crochet into the first double that's unworked on the front side, double into each double, chain 1, skip your double, double into each double, slip stitch to the first. Alright, so you're going to work 2, 3, 4, double crochet into each double, chain 1 and skip your chain 1s, and then round 5 is a half double crochet all the way around. Make sure to chain 1, skip your chain 1, okay? And then at the end of round 5, slip stitch to your first half double, chain 1, pull up a loop, fasten off. And I am going to come back once I've got my second leg done. Actually, before you get too far, go ahead and weave in that tail from attaching right there, okay? Or you're never going to be able to get inside there to weave in that end. So just go ahead and just right now weave that in, and then work your double crochets and then your half double, okay? Your 1 through 5, double into each, double. All right. So I will be back once my ends are all weaved in, and we are going to work our shoes. And then after that, we've got arms, and we will be done after we attach. All right. So I will be right back. Okay, if you guys can hear that, the rain's coming down a little heavier. How fun is it to crochet and do a tutorial while it's just a peaceful, rainy evening? I love it. All right, so we have our ends weaved in, our legs done. So what we are going to do is completely flip him over, upside down, and we are going to start a boot. Fight my yarn from church. All right, get a slip knot on your hook. And what we are going to do is we are going to look at the back of our left leg, the first leg that we worked, the one that has the seam that goes all the way down. We are going to find the half double crochet that we slip stitched into, and you can see right there's that slip stitch. Count over 1, 2, 3, 4 into that fourth from our slip stitch. We are going to back loop, attach with the slip stitch, this is not working on camera. There we go. Chain 1, and now back loop, single crochet right back into the same stitch that you just attached into, and I am going to catch that extra loop right there. Single crochet. Why did I yarn over? Okay, I'm going to go right into the additional loop that's under the back loop that I showed you guys earlier, because that stretched big time. All right, so we attached into there, and now we're going to back loop, single crochet into the next 5 half double. What am I doing? Stop yarning over. One, 2, 3. I'm going to jump right across that slip stitch and into the half double crochet that I slip stitched into with 4 and 5. We're going to chain 1 and flip Sam over. Okay, now we're going to come to the back, and not the half double that we attached into, but the next one is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and into the 6th one we're going to back loop, single crochet, and then back loop, single crochet into the rest to the beginning, and that should be 6 on each side. Now we are going to chain 1 and well, yeah. Chain 1, and that is technically the end of round 1 of our boot. So to start round 2, I'm going to go ahead and get that tail tightened up right there. Single crochet into the first back loop single, and then mark that as the first stitch of round 2. and I want to stop to make sure I've got the right stitch count. Should be 1, for Pete's sake, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's 6, chain 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, uh-oh, I only have 5 on one side. I messed that up. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Chain 1, jump to the other side, come to the stitch to the right that you attached into, and count 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Back loop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Chain 1. That's the end of round 1. Single crochet to the first back loop single. Mark it with a marker to mark that as the first stitch of round 2. Okay, so now we should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's a chain 1. All right, I'm sorry about that. I messed up somewhere. All right, let me get my pencil. Mark that out. Okay. We are going to, actually, you know what? I'm going to get the tail out of the way right now because it's bugging me. Okay. Ugh. Okay, so now we are going to single into the next single and in each single until that chain 1. Don't forget that single right there before the chain 1. Chain 1, skip the chain 1, single into each single until we're back. Alright, so now we chain 1. That's the last stitch of round 2. For round 3, we're going to repeat the same thing. Single into each single. Mark that as first stitch of round 3. Single into each of the singles, chain 1 and skip the chain 1, and you should still have 6 single, chain 1, 6 single, and then the chain 1. So right there, it's a little hard to see, that's the chain 1. There's 5, and there's 6. All right, that's the end of round 3. So, well, chain 1, that's the end of round 3. Round 4, single crochet into the first, I'm going to stop and mark that as the first stitch of round 4. And then I'm going to go ahead and bring in my other stitch marker. Remember on the boot for Sunbonnet Sue, we marked that chain 1 space because it's a bit of a bear to see. Okay, single into each single until the chain 1. So if I pull this apart, trying to get it to where you guys can see the chain 1s. They're right here. So we have a single here. Alright, into that chain 1, we're going to work a single, chain 1, and then I'm going to stop and go completely around that chain 1. Go right back in there with a single, and now single into each single until the chain 1. There's 4, 5. Okay, so I've lost a single, so instead of trying to find it, I'm just going to work one more single crochet. There you go, there's 6. Chain 1, that's end of round 4, round 5, single crochet into the first single, just right there, stop, mark that, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we should have 7 now because we worked the double in, or the single into the chain 1. Alright, now around that stitch marker, go right into that hole with a single, chain 1. We don't need to mark that anymore because this is the last round of the little boot. Go right back in there with a single, and then single into each single, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is not easy to do on camera. 6, 7, chain 1, slip stitch to the first single crochet, chain 1, pull up loop, and we're done with the boot. Get that chain space to stick out, and there we go. There is that boot. So now we're going to do this exact same thing on this side. The only difference is that we don't have like a good starting point on this side, but we want 6 stitches on this side, 6 stitches on this side, right? So all I'm going to do is pinch this leg, keep it nice, the chain 1 seam down this side, and I'm going to look, and you can see right here is a single, here's a single, here's a single, here's a single. I'm going to count off 6 and attach into the 6th one. So make sure, where's the chain? Oh, here we go. That chain 1 space, following my seam, So here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 6 on this side. Let's see. So I'm going to count off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I'm just going to pull up that back loop. I'm going to attach into that. Catch the back loop and the one under it. Slip stitch, chain 1, single into the next 6. Well, I mean, single into the one you attach to, and then back loop into the next 5 for a total of 6. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, chain 1, back loop into the next 6. And if you want to, go ahead and mark that chain 1, since I mean I got lost in mine. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Chain 1. So what we're doing is we're working the same pattern, right? The only difference is that the single chain 1 single into the chain 1 space is worked at this end of the boot instead of this end, right? Because if we worked it here like we did here, the toe of the boot is going to be to the inside. So how we're going to do this round is first get rid of this tail. I'll weave that in a minute. Okay, so now we're going to single crochet into the first single to mark that single as the first single of round 2. So round 2 and 3, we single into each single, chain 1, skip 1. So this is round 2. I'm just going to stay with you guys and work this. I know this is going to be a very long video, but chain 1, skip the chain 1, single into the next, and I am just going to mark my single, or I mean my chain 1s, just because it's so hard to see. Chain 1, single into the first single, mark it with the stitch marker to indicate that is the first single crochet of round 3. Single into each single into the next chain 1. Chain 1. Now I'm just going to mark that chain 1 so I don't miss it again. Skip the chain 1. Single into the next single all the way to the beginning. All right, now into the chain 1 space, we're going to work single, chain 1, mark that chain 1, go right back in there with a single, and that's the beginning of round 4. So go ahead and single into each single, chain 1, skip the chain 1, single into the next single, single into each single until the chain 1 space, into the marked chain 1 space, single, chain 1, right back in there with a single, single into each single crochet until you're to the back of the shoe, you can see the chain 1 right there. I think it's the chain 1, yeah. I'm going to chain 1, skip, and nope, that's not. I have one more single, chain 1, then skip the single, or the chain 1 space, slip stitch to the first single, chain 1, flip loop. And we're done with the boot. That was a pain. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do, weave in these ends, all right? And I'm sorry about getting through that boot, but I mean, it's the same thing as the Sunbonnet Sue. I think you guys can handle that. All right, so I am going to stop here, weave in these ends, all right? And then we have his arms to do. Now his arms are the exact same pattern as Sunbonnet Sue, okay? So what I'm going to do is insert a clip from the Sunbonnet Sue tutorial making the arm. But you can make the arm, I'm going to make mine in red, but you can make it in any color you want to. Just make 2 of them, the hands too, okay? And when we come back, I'll be back on Sam, and we're going to attach to his little shoulder space right here, and then do the final touches, and we're going to be done, okay? So I'm going to stop, and then it's going to pick up right here with the arms from the Sunbonnet Sue tutorial, okay? So I will be right back. So let's go ahead and get our tail. Now if you do want to sew your sleeve on, I kind of go for a little extra long tail. But if you're not going to sew yours down, then I would just go for an average tail so you can weave in your ends. And, well, good grief, I'm all tangled up. Okay, so to get started, we're going to start with a chain of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to single crochet in the second chain from our hook. So right in there, single crochet, and now we're going to just single crochet in those next 2 chains. Actually, I just realized I lied to you. We're not starting here, we're starting here. We work our way this way and then we attach the hand. Sorry, I forgot all about that. All right, so that was row 1. So row 2, chain 1 and turn. We're just going to single crochet into the very first single and single into the next 2. just like that. Row 3, chain 1 and turn. We're going to do the exact same thing again, just single into the first, into the next, and into the last. Chain 1, turn. Row 4, single into the very first, 2 single into the next, and then single into that last single crochet. So now you should have 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so we're going to chain 1 and turn. Row 5, we're going to single crochet into each single across. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Chain 1 and turn. Row 6, we are going to work 2 single crochet into that very first single. So go right in there with 1 and 2. Now we're going to single crochet into the next 2 singles. And then into the last, we're going to work 2 single crochets, that is. I should have said, sorry. 2 single into that last single. So now we should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Chain 1 and turn. So row 7, we're going to work 1 single crochet all the way across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Get my pencil. That was row 7. So row 8, chain 1 and turn. In row 8, we're going to work 2 single into the very first. 1, 2, single into the next 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Into the last, work 2 single crochet. 1, 2. So you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Chain 1. That is not right. I didn't work 2 single crochet in my first one. Sorry about that. Pull that back out. Chain 1, 2 single crochet into that very first. 1, 2. Single crochet into the next 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 single crochet into that last. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's better. Alright, that was row 8. So chain 1 and turn. Row 9, we're going to single crochet into the very first, and then single into each single all the way across. Into that very last one is a bit of a pain. There we go. Alright, that was row 9. For row 10, chain 1 and turn, and we're going to single crochet into each single all the way across again. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, so at the end of row 10, we're going to pull up a loop. Oh, wait a minute. I need to check my scribbles again. Okay, sorry about that. I was right the first time. We do chain 1 and turn. So for row 11, we're going to skip that very first single crochet, and we're going to single crochet right into the very next. So go into the next single, work a single, and now we're going to skip the next, single into the next, skip the next, single into the next. There. I don't want a huge gap between the singles. Okay, so skip the next, and into the very last, we're going to work a single crochet. So you can see how it cupped like that. Okay, so now we're going to chain 1 and turn. We're going to skip that very first single crochet, and we're going to single crochet into the next, skip the next, and into that very next stitch we're going to slip stitch, just like that. Chain 1, pull up a longer tail if you think you're going to need it for sewing, and then pull that tight, and there's our little cupped sleeve. So where'd I put her? Oh, I like it. It doesn't look bad at all. Good deal. So right there is how that sleeve's gonna go. All right, I am going to pause because of course I ended up forgetting my flesh colored yarn, and I don't know where I sat it. I'll be right back, guys. Okay, after about 10 minutes, I finally realized, oh yeah, I put it back on my shelf and finally found it. So I've got my skin tone. So I'm gonna get a normal length of tail with the slip knot on my hook. And now I'm going to hold my arm, which I mean, it doesn't really matter. You can just pop the little puff part of the sleeve however you want to, but I like to work it to where I can see that the first remaining loop of the chain that I'm going to be working to, I can see is where the tail is coming from. So I'm going to attach right here with a slip stitch, pull that up, tighten that down, chain 1, go right back in there with a single, and then I'm going to single into the next remaining loop and the next remaining loops. So we want 3 single crochet right there. Okay, chain 1 and turn. We're going to single crochet into the very first single, 2 single crochet into the next single, and single crochet into that last single crochet, just like that. So you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, which I know mine's a little hard to see, which that is not right. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Okay, 5, row 5, chain 1, turn. We're going to skip that first single crochet into the next. Skip the next single crochet into that last single. So we're down to 2. Make sure you get both loops of that last single. Chain 1 and turn. Skip that first single into the last single. We're going to slip stitch, chain 1, pull up a loop, and cut. Just like that. All right, now what I want you to do is get you a needle. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this tail and we're going to weave it through the legs of these singles to where it's on this side of the hand. So we have the tail coming from this side, and then this tail will be coming from this side. And then what we're going to do is tie it in a little knot in the middle, give it just ever so slightly, pull it tight, and it should cause that hand to cup like that. Okay? So like I said, I'm going to take this tail, get it on my needle. I almost think I should get a smaller needle. I think it'll work. Alright, I'm just going to run it through the legs of these stitches, and I'm going to come out about right here. Right there. I don't pull it too tight. I don't want to distort where my hand starts on my sleeve. Looks nice. Okay, so now this is where it would come in handy to have a hand, an extra little hand. I'm just going to tie these together like I'm tying a shoestring, just ever so slightly, and then I'm going to tie another one to knot it. Get in there. I have to finagle it around a bit, and there it creates that little cuff. Well, or the cup, I mean, not cuff. Okay, so I am now just going to trim these little tails. I'm not going to weave these in. I'll probably, let me show you. I don't want to get that too close to that knot. Okay, what I'm probably going to do is put a little dollop of my fabric tack. Put a little dollop in there and glue that knot so it doesn't come out. Okay, I am back and it's still raining. So I've got my arms done, my ends weaved in besides my long one to sew it on. I added a little bit of fabric tack right there to keep his hands cuffed and to keep that knot nice and glued down on the inside. So the first thing we are going to do is first make sure the front of Sam is facing you, and we are just going to completely pull down his little overalls, this little top piece. Alright, so you can see right here that, I don't know if I want to say ridge, like the shoulder part, that's where we're going to place our arm. So you see how the arm naturally wants to cup? We're just going to cup it right on there, just like that. And you can glue it. I'm just going to go ahead and sew mine for, you know, anyone that wants to sew it on there. All right. So I'm going to come from the back to the front, and I'm keeping the stitches to the edge of the arm, you know, the edge of the arm right there. Come to the back, same thing, keep it to the edge. Come down a few more. And of course, make sure you're going through his body. Right to that edge. I'm going to go in and out the back one more time. Come out the back. Okay, and that is actually good enough, because when we put his overall back up, we are going to just tack his little hand down right there so it stays right there. You can see on these I didn't do that. You can see how his arms are all just kind of floppy. I want them to stay right there. Okay. So that's actually good for the sewing down part. Get my needle back. I'm just gonna poke this to the inside, bring it out somewhere in the back, pull it tight, snip, and it pops right back inside. Okay, so I'm gonna do the same thing on this side. Now, I didn't give myself enough tail to weave that in, or I mean to sew that down, so I am just going to attach a little piece right here. And then I'll hide those tails on the inside of his arm. Alright, so make sure the front is facing me. Take his little arm, cup it on the little shoulder part, and sew it on there. Now, of course, it doesn't like pulling that knot through there. That's all right. I will take care of that. I'm going to go one more. Oh, dang it. It came unsewed. That's all right. Actually, I think it might be just enough. Hide that tail to the inside. It is enough. I didn't think that would be. Good deal. Alright, put his hand in his little strap. He looks so cute. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get him nice and situated, and then I'm going to take a couple of my needles here, and I'm just going to glue his hand where I want it to set. Right there. And I'm not going to run my needle through the glue or I'll never get my needle back. Let's go right in the side. Right there. All right, now I'm just going to let that dry. He looks good. I'm happy. I love the colors on him. Okay, so I'm going to let him dry, and when I come back, we are done. So like I said, I'm going to let him dry, and then I'll show you guys all of it. I'll be right back. Okay, guys, that is it. It is actually the next day, and I let his little hands dry, and they're perfect. So that is it. That is all of my tutorial for how to make the Sunbonnet Sue and the overall Sam. Thank you all so very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Hit that thumbs up if you did. Subscribe if you haven't, because I got all kinds of goodies coming. And this was fun. I'm glad I did this. I'm glad. And I have to tell you guys, at the very beginning, I said I did not like the colors of her dress. But when they're together, it looks a lot better to me. I really like it. So I'm happy with the colors I chose. But, okay, thank you guys for watching. Subscribe, hit that thumbs up, leave me a comment, let me know what you guys think of these two. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.